Welcome to the Principles of Defensive Breathing, the best way to breathe in bad air. I'm Lisa Bowen, breathing educator and certified health and wellness coach at Breathing Retraining Center. I help athletes, musicians, parents, and people with breathing-related health conditions learn to apply a set of self-management tools designed to correct poor breathing habits. Today, I'm talking about the formula for breathing defensively when your focus is protecting yourself in unhealthy air, whether that's from pollution or fire smoke or germs from someone sick standing next to you. Let's start. Disclaimer alert, I'm a wellness coach, not a healthcare professional, here providing educational content about healthy breathing habits, not medical advice. Consult your doctor about any breathing difficulties. Straight from the start, let's describe what defensive breathing looks like when you're in bad air. In a polluted environment of any type, you want to breathe with your nose, stop breathing with your mouth, and breathe less. That is, breathe less air by volume than you otherwise might, so you're exposed to as few pollutants, allergens, germs, wildfire smoke, and other gnarly stuff as possible. Let's cover each one of these more in depth. So, why should you breathe with your nose? Well, the nose is the guardian of the lungs. Its main job is to act as a filter, and the first line of defense is the hair in the nostrils that tie up the largest particles coming in on each inhalation. Next is the microscopic cilia. Cilia are short, hair-like appendages extending from the surface edge of specialized cells. They're like tiny seaweed in the ocean swaying back and forth and trapping much smaller allergens and pollutants. And when the first two traps don't work, in comes snot and mucus to trap yucky stuff in a liquid or paste that moves it either back out of your nose or down into your stomach and then out the other end. This all works together in a masterful system to keep gunk out of the lungs. So the nose is the body's designated primary organ for breathing, and it does a lot more than just trap particles. It's also cleaning, moisturizing, and heating air to get it ready to enter the lungs. Part of this is the release of nitric oxide in the paranasal sinuses to sanitize the air. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control, or CDC, during the COVID-19 crisis in 2020, approved the delivery of external nitric oxide as a hospital treatment. If you breathe with your nose, you can get it anytime, anywhere when you breathe. And there are even exercises we can do to increase the concentration of NO also, to make it even more potent. Now, there is an exception to the superiority of nasal breathing, and that's in an emergency, when mouth breathing is the signal to mobilize our instinctual impulse for survival and turn on our fight or flight system. Except during an immediate crisis, we don't want to mouth breathe because it offers no filtration like the nose does. The mouth's primary job is to eat and talk, so stop habitual mouth breathing. Many people today have what's called a mixed breathing pattern, some mouth and some nose. In a 2015 survey of 1,000 American adults by Breathe Right strips, 61% of respondents identified themselves as mouth breathers. What's been going on for about the last 100 years with industrialization and globalization and more affluence is that as humans have experienced more options, life has also become more complicated, more technological and stressful, and more sedentary, and that has led many more people to mouth breathe than humans historically have. Finally, when we find ourselves in polluted environments, it makes sense to consciously breathe less air, but obviously still a sustainable amount, as a strategy to inhale fewer unhealthy particles. A side benefit of nasal breathing is that when you start smelling something noxious, like chemicals or burning, you can choose to even hold your breath as much as you can while you leave the area. That's an extreme but effective way of navigating unusual circumstances. To visualize and normalize the idea of breathing less, let's compare it to food. When people want to start eating healthier, they often reduce the amount they eat. Almost anyone who doesn't have lung damage can experiment doing the same thing with breathing. In general, you don't need to worry about getting enough oxygen, even if you breathe less. And I'm talking about safely making a small reduction, like 1% at a time change, as recommended in habit creation circles, because there's about 21% oxygen in the air we inhale, and when we exhale, there's still about 16% oxygen left in our outbreath. So we're only absorbing a fraction of the oxygen we take in. This doesn't mean generally healthy people don't ever feel breathless, because they do. It's out of the scope of this pollution fighting topic to get into the details of why, but it has to do with the balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the bloodstream, and is frequently a matter of poor respiratory fitness that can be worked on and improved. These principles of defensive breathing I've just mentioned, breathe with your nose, stop breathing with your mouth, and breathe less, all come together in an integrated way, a beautiful way actually, where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Because when you're nasal breathing, you're naturally breathing less air by volume than when you're mouth breathing. The size of our open mouth is just much larger than our two itty-bitty nostrils. So to reiterate, unless something outside the norm is happening, and there's a reason to breathe another way, it's best to breathe defensively as much as you can. Breathe with your nose, stop breathing with your mouth, and breathe less. Let's talk about how to start incorporating the formula for healthy breathing habits into your life. The first step can be to just discover your breathing pattern. During almost 10 years as a breathing coach, I've noticed most people don't even know if they're nose or mouth breathing, so that's a good place to start. Develop awareness by observing others and then yourself. Most of us breathe differently at different times based on our emotions, our fitness level, our habits and activity, and that's totally normal. So observe yourself in various situations and exertion levels. Our breathing pattern can change depending upon whether we're sitting around relaxing, working, doing household chores, exercising, talking, eating, or sleeping. To check how hard it would be for you to stop mouth breathing altogether, try it out by holding a light object like a popsicle stick or plastic utensil between your lips to make a firm lip seal, and see how long you're comfortable breathing with your nose only. All right, so I'm going to leave it there for now. There's a part 2 to this called What Your Amazing Nose Can Filter that goes over the size of germs and pollutants suspended in air and contrasts what our uncovered noses and mouths are able to filter. Don't miss it. To tap into what we're doing at Breathing Retraining Center, please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as our channel on your favorite social media for articles and announcements. And if you experience more breathlessness than you'd like and want to explore individual online coaching or a class, get in touch through breathingretrainingcenter.com. See you on the next video.